So you're driving for DoorDash. I want you to think, what is the highest peak pay that you've seen in your market? Is it $2? Is it $3? Is it $4? Is it $6.50? Because that's what I drove on tonight in Point Loma. That's Point Loma here in San Diego, California. But a question to you, does higher peak pay really mean more pay? Well, I just got back from this driving shift, so we're gonna go over all of the orders, all of my earnings, everything, and answer the question, is higher peak pay really worth it? Now, if this is the first time that you and I are meeting, my name is Mike, and this channel is dedicated to your success in this gig economy, the side hustle. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. And for the very best tips, tricks, and strategies in one powerhouse mastermind course, visit yourdrivermike.com/delivery. Note pricing on that will go up as more content is added. So let's talk strategy and how I went into this shift, because this was different than a normal shift. So number one, this was a newer marketplace for me. I typically don't drive in Point Loma, I drive here in Mission Valley. So think about this. Think about what's different in your driving when you drive in a new marketplace versus old reliable. Well, let's look at order number one. So this order, OB Kebab, a strong $14.75 for a pretty good dollars to mile ratio, 7.6 miles. But since this is a new marketplace, I really have no idea where these restaurants are, and moreover, any strategies to make a seamless pickup. What I mean by that is, if you haven't picked up from these restaurants before, not only do you not know, hey, are they typically on their game? Are they slow? Or in this area, it's pretty dense. How is parking? Are there any shortcuts to get in and get out quicker? Now, this order is a fantastic example of strong peak pay that pays off. Let's take a look at this one. Noodles and Company, $12.50 for just 2 miles. That is an exceptional dollars to mile ratio. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, it's just that. It's the ratio of how much am I getting paid out versus the miles driven. So $12.50 for 2 miles, that's fantastic. And here is where some expertise comes into play. I've picked up from here before. I know how to get to the restaurant. And that's actually number one. Let's not forget about that, is how to actually get to the restaurant. Because frankly, if you're driving somewhere you've never driven before, I've done it, you may make a wrong turn. Maybe it's at a 5-way split or something crazy, and you just don't want any delays, things like that. But I have picked up from here before, albeit there was a little bit of a wait here. And our stacked order strategy got us this one from Chipotle. So what is the stacked order strategy? Well, I mentioned it in this video. It's being, of course, in the dense areas with restaurants. But when arriving, if you know that you're getting a lot of orders, if you know that you're in one of those dense areas, wait a little bit and give the app a chance to throw you a stacked order. And especially if there's a Chipotle nearby, I mean, come on, Chipotle gets a ton of orders. There we go, stacked order, $11.87. Order number 4, Smash Burger, $14.25, 6.5 miles. Now you can't see it here, but let's talk about problems at drop-off. So this one you can kind of make out where it's at. It's in downtown. It was really in, I guess, I don't know, a corner of downtown. And it was to an industrial building. Really a receiving bay is where the customer was going to meet me at. But here's where the lack of expertise may come into play. You know, me typically, I don't drive too much downtown. So it took literally, I think, 2 or 3 extra turns to find this building that was actually tucked behind the bus station in, again, an industrial area of downtown. Now, the customer didn't really seem to care, and honestly, he probably wasn't even tracking the order. Now, most customers will track you, and pretty closely. Some actually are just waiting outside when you arrive. But I gave him a call, and he met me again at the receiving door. But I'll tell you this, when it comes to making wrong turns or having problems finding the location like this one, don't risk it on the road. Don't go up one ways, do not enters. And actually this one, there was a bus only entrance, and that was obviously not for me. So it's not really worth it to risk it on the road. If you need to pass the location, circle back, which is actually what I did. that is safer, again, than risking it. So a short shift tonight, but one that again was on a $6.50 peak pay bonus. But how were the actual earnings and how did it compare to my average earnings? So tonight's shift, 6:45 p.m. until 9 p.m. in that Point Loma marketplace. That is a shift, 2 hours, 15 minutes. My total gross revenue was $53.36. That equaled a gross revenue per hour of $23.72. But again, what does that really mean as far as my average earnings? Well, it places it here compared to other shifts as far as gross revenue per hour. So the gross revenue per hour on the 650 bonus really didn't stand out, certainly didn't stand out in a big way compared to other shifts with lower bonuses. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more and how that affects you. But the deliveries completed tonight, I did 4. I did receive 4 tips with an average tip slightly lower, an average of $3.28. Business miles, 23.5, which gives us a tax deduction of $13.51. Okay, let's talk about that gross revenue per hour and takeaways when it comes to peak pay. My most recent strategy has really been looking at driving on 80 to 85% of your market max peak pay. And I mean, come on, 650, that is really the max that I see here, a prolonged max. We have some spurts of $7 bonuses, but for a 4-hour segment, albeit I only drove for 2 some hours here tonight, I see 650 as a max bonus. So when might you want to drive on the max bonus? Because I mean, hey, I did tonight versus driving on shifts with lower bonuses. My thinking is if you're going to drive on your market's max peak pay bonus, be prepared to possibly take less orders per hour. Why? Well, the max bonus, that is most likely going to draw out more drivers, so driver saturation. And number 2, let's think about it. It really doesn't matter the peak pay bonus. You can physically only complete a certain amount of orders per hour. It's going to average between 2 to 3 orders per hour, unless you're delivering downtown, and especially if you're on a bike, moped, what have you, where you can make some quick runs. But using a vehicle, in most average market, you can only complete 2 to 3 an hour. So if you can complete 2 to 3 orders per hour, and again, let's say the bonus is, what is it, $6.50, right? If I was driving on a $4.50 bonus, so that's an extra $2 between those bonuses. So that's an extra, what, $4 to $6 per hour. So assuming that you can keep up with 2 to 3 orders per hour, DoorDash had given you that many orders, the higher peak pay, it can mean more hourly earnings because there you go. Obviously, there's a $2 difference between a $4.50 and a $6.50. But statistically, from what I've seen, either it's the dollars to mile ratio, maybe you're driving longer orders, or it is slower because of the saturation that we talked about. I see that the max peak pay, it doesn't really statistically mean more earnings per hour. But that's just my findings. And actually, let me know down below in the comments. Do you find that when you drive on your marketplace's maximum peak pay, whatever that is, does it mean more earnings per hour? Now, if you got value in this video, definitely leave a like. And for the very best accessories for your side hustle, visit my Amazon storefront. That's linked down below. And you can click or tap the screen now for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.